when it says I have energy or that I feel like I need to dance up here or something. Where is that remote?
It's in my hand.
I might need that. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so I'm here to talk about how do you create joy with G Factor, and you might be wondering what G Factor is. And it may not be what you think it is, because normally when I say G Factor, an eyebrow goes up and I'm like, nope, that's not what it is. So I'm gonna tell you what it is. All right, so I'm gonna start here with talking about babies, because babies, I think, bring a whole lot of joy. For most of us anyhow. But there is something that, it's this natural ability that babies have to draw people to them. And those people can be perfect strangers, they can be family members, they can be that dog that is on the sidewalk when you're walking your baby. But nonetheless, they have an ability to bring joy. This baby here happens to be me. And a couple of years ago anyhow. You'll see that my mouth is open. I talk for a living, so it's all come full circle. But I have always wanted to create more joy in people's lives. And I think it came from an interest in human behavior. What makes people do what they do and think the things they think? And why do they say the things that they say? And that curiosity continued all the way into my career. And what I noticed in my career is that there were some people I absolutely loved working with. There were certain leaders that I wanted to work for. There were certain people that I was like, I want to be on a project with that person. And then there were some not so much. Hopefully you're not one of those people. But we have an ability to either draw people to us or to repel them. And I wanted to figure out what is it that creates this. So I came up with a concept called G Factor, and it stands for gravitational pull. So what is your gravitational pull that draws people to you? And I had some good ideas. I was a communication major, I'm into people, psychology minor, so I had some really good ideas, I thought, but I was smart enough to know that my ideas weren't good enough. So I needed to go to the experts. And so I did. I went to working professionals, people like you, people like me, and I asked the question, what makes you want to work with someone? And I surveyed over 834 people. It's that information, that data, that I took and I put it into, if I can get this going, into this book, G Factor, 8 Secrets to Increasing Your Gravitational Pull at Work. And so for the last several years, I've been presenting on that. Workshops, I've been doing, 2-day workshops, 1-hour workshops, sharing my book, doing 15-minute talks like this. But what I found is that there were a whole group of people that needed access to it. They wanted more joy. They wanted to increase their G Factor, and they couldn't necessarily hire me to come in and work with a team. These are individuals. So from that, I developed a deep dive digital course for leaders, because what's happened in the last 2 years, right? We've gone digital. And then a mini course for people. And I'm going to share with you a little bit tonight of what I talk about in those courses and give you an opportunity when you leave here to be able to grow your own G Factor almost immediately. So I'm going to share with you the #1 G Factor out of all of that research. It is the most popular one. Here it is. It is gratitude. It is about showing appreciation. And you may be thinking, really, Jeannette? That's it? That's what I just have to say thank you to people to increase my gravitational pull? And the data says yes. Yes, this is one way that you can do it. But what I find people do is they think that it's simple, but they're not actually capitalizing on it. They're not taking advantage of every opportunity to express appreciation that's in front of them. Because what happens is excuses get in the way. So I'm going to share with you some excuses, and you don't have to call them out, but I want you to reflect a little and say, is this maybe my own roadblock to expressing gratitude when the opportunities arise? All right, so here's the first one. Why should I have to? I hear this all the time. Why should I? So let's say Ricky and I work together, and Ricky, I'm your boss. And I'm like, well, why should I have to thank Ricky for coming to work on time? Well, you know what? I don't, right? I don't have to thank you, Ricky. That's my choice. What happens if I do, though? Because Ricky, you and everybody else in this room, you're a little bit like a puppy. And when you give a puppy positive reinforcement, what does the puppy give you in return? Positive behavior. So if I say to Ricky, wow, thank you for being here on time, or thank you for meeting that deadline, guess what's going to happen the next time I need him to be on time or meet that deadline? He's going to say 100%, I'm there, right? So you get the choice not to do it because somebody gets paid to do it. But if you want to create more joy and if you want to increase your gravitational pull, thank people. All right, here's another one. There we go. Doesn't too much of it make it less meaningful? That's a yes and no answer. Have any of you said, no, stop the love? Stop telling me that I'm a great employee or that I'm a great friend, right? It doesn't make it less meaningful. The only way it will be less meaningful is if you don't mean it. If it is not genuine. Yes, April, if it's not genuine. And there's a lot of research around that too. Okay, didn't the moment pass? I heard this from someone recently. They said, I really struggle with gratitude because I don't think of it in the moment. You know, and then it's 2 days later. And then I go, oh, I could have thanked that person. I could have given them gratitude and appreciation. No, it's not too late. Yeah, it's great if you can do it in the moment, but even if you think about it later, I still want you to do it because that's going to help you grow your gravitational pull. Okay, so here's research behind my research because I want to prove to people it's not just these 834 working professionals that said, oh yeah, gratitude's a big deal. So I went and I said, who else out there has looked at this? This is what I found. A study out of the University of California says that gratitude is an influencer of societal functioning. So what does that mean? Think of your team, your business, a company as a micro-society, and they will function better when gratitude exists. It also influences collective well-being. And here I can get heavily into employee engagement, but I want to talk about human motivation. There are 3 psychological needs to human motivation. One of those is connectedness or relatedness. So when we feel connected to other people, we become better. And gratitude is a way to create that. All right, here's an interesting study that if we say thank you, now it's not quite that simple that we just say the words thank you, but if you say thank you or you make employee recognition a priority, the result is a 14% increase in engagement and productivity. So if we think of a 40-hour work week, that's 5.6 hours. That's 14% of your work week. That's a whole lot of productivity. So I'm thinking, gosh, if I'm thanking my coworkers, if I'm thanking my team as a leader, and they are more productive, there's more joy, right? We're getting more done. All right, here's my favorite piece of research. Does anybody know who Martin Seligman is? Yes. Can you? You can say he's awesome.
Is he a psychologist?
He is a psychologist. So Martin Seligman is considered the father of positive psychology. In fact, he runs a positive psychology program at the University of Pennsylvania. And they have taken his work and they've applied it to education and to the military and to sports. He did an experiment with his students, and what he did is he said, you're going to write and personally deliver a letter of gratitude. You're not going to email it. You're not going to pick up your phone and text it, and you're not going to put a stamp on it and drop it in the post office box, but you're going to personally deliver it. And when they did, this is what they found. There was a huge increase in happiness scores. And you might be thinking, well, of course, if I get a letter of gratitude, I'm going to be happier. But it didn't stop there. It also made the person who wrote and delivered that letter of gratitude happier. So you create more joy in your own life when you make an effort to express gratitude, to use your gratitude G factor. I see you looking at your watch. How are we doing? Okay. Because I didn't take my phone out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can create joy, and I'm going to ask you to take action. So here's number 1, encouragement and recognition. This comes out of some research that was, who's heard of the 5 love languages? Aha, just about everybody in here. Well, the 5 love languages is how do we speak love to other people in a language that makes sense to them. That book was a bestseller. But then along came another psychologist and he said, you know, if that existed in relationships, in personal relationships, does it exist in the workplace? And his name's Dr. Paul White, and Gary Chapman wrote the 5 love languages. So he started bugging Gary Chapman for an entire year. He kept bugging him and saying, come on, we got to team up together. And they did the research and they found out that the same 5 languages exist in the workplace, but they're in the form of appreciation. But here's the thing, when you use appreciation, do it in the form of either encouragement or recognition. So if you want to encourage someone, yes, go for that promotion. Yes, take that risk. You know, speak up in that meeting. I know that you're afraid to speak up. I want to see you do that. Or recognizing the work that was done, like, Ricky, thank you for showing up to work on time, because it allows us to start the day off strong and get done what we need to get done. And that's the other thing about gratitude, specific. We want to be specific. So the thank you, just those 2 words, they don't have a ton of return. But when you say thank you because, that lets me know, what behavior do you want to see? What can I do to make your world better and create more joy in your world? All right, so that's number 1. Here's number 2. Tell someone how they make your life better or your life easier. Who in your life right now could you contact on the way home, hands-free, and say, I just wanted to let you know you did this and that makes my life better, and here is how. Here's number 3. Ask people to share things about each other. I love one of the people in my digital course. She manages a team at a bank. And it was Employee Appreciation Week, and she gave everybody a pile of Post-its, and she said, I want you to write what you appreciate about everybody else on the team. And then she collected them, and I saw a picture, and they were all over her desk. And then she gave them back to each employee. I'm like, that is a beautiful thing. And there were people going, well, can I write one for everybody on the team? And she's like, absolutely you can. All right, here's number 4. When you see it, say it. So that you don't fall victim to that excuse of, oh, the time already passed, right? If it's in the moment, get into the habit of saying, hang on, you know, I just got to call you out here and say, you are awesome, and here's the reason why. Thank you. All right, and here's number 5. I want you to write and personally deliver a note of gratitude. And to make it super easy on you, these are spread out around the room, and you may take 1 or 2 or 3 or the entire pile. I think there's like 15 in each bucket. What I want you to do is find one. But before you do that, think about who it is that you can personally thank and put it in writing. Here's another excuse. Oh, my writing's not good. I can't write. I'm going to tell you that when somebody gets a letter of gratitude, a note, they're not going to go, oh, gosh, your writing is messy. Why'd you even do this? Right? They're not going to say that. They're going to be like, this is awesome. What does it say? Because maybe they can't read it. So I'm going to pass this one around, but there are some that are spread out, because if there's any action you take tonight, I want you to take one of those cards and commit to finding someone. And maybe it's you write in there how they made your life better, how they made your life easier. Maybe you hand it to them with a Post-it in it and say, This is why I appreciate you, and I left this card blank so that you can pass it on and appreciate someone else, however you want to use it. All right, so with that, I told you that there are 8 G factors, and I only talked about one, and that is gratitude, because in 15 minutes I can't tell you all 8 anyhow. But what you'll see up here is a QR code, and that QR code, I have a free G factor assessment. So if you're like, well, I want to know what the other 7 are, and I want to know if I have it or not. Am I repelling people, or am I getting them to gravitate to me? What I can tell you with this QR code, sometimes if you have an iPhone, it doesn't make it happy. So if you can, okay, awesome. Travis said no problem. He was able to, and do you have an iPhone?
I got it from the back of the room, iPhone, yes.
Okay, sweet.
Droid is better.
My husband is always like, the QR code's not working. I'm like, yes, it is. I have an Android. Look, it works on my phone. And what I can do here is,
Make it big.
this is a different QR code, so I'll give you a really big one in just a second. But I write a lot about G Factor. I mean, it brings me joy to share the research that I found, and because really my goal in life is to rid the planet of really bad leaders. So I got a lot of work to do. So I'm always trying to put nuggets out there, right, to inspire leaders. But if you want to get in touch with me, that's a QR code to get in touch with me, or you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn is where I put most of my stuff. But then I'll put this here. So that's a big QR. Thank you to Amy for doing this. And Amy, I'm not just going to say thank you for doing this. I'm going to say thank you for doing this because I didn't know that there was going to be a small screen, and she said, I'm going to take that QR code and I'm going to put it here, which makes it better for all of you. So with that, my hope for you is take that card, let someone know why you appreciate them, express your gratitude, and make gratitude a practice every day, because when you do, you will feel more joy.